rundown on how this is going to go today. I'm going to give a statement, and then Dr. Lemon from ERMAC will give you an update, and then the prosecutor, Mark Taylor, will speak, and then also at the end it will be Chad Martin, the superintendent from School District 251. So this morning at approximately 9:08 a.m., a 6th grade female student retrieved a handgun from her backpack. She fired multiple rounds inside of the school and out. She injured 3 people. 2 of them are students, and 1 of them is a school employee. They were injured with gunfire, but they are non-life-threatening injuries at this time. This is a very difficult and trying time for our community. We've had amazing support from partners across the state that have arrived to not only assist in the investigation, but give us support with what we need. The details of the investigation are being thoroughly investigated right now by these community partners. I can tell you that the student does reside in Idaho Falls, Idaho, but she does attend school here. During the shooting, a teacher disarmed the student and detained her until law enforcement took her into custody. This incident is also being investigated by, I'll tell you who the partners are: Idaho State Police, Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, Bonneville Sheriff's Office, the FBI, Idaho Falls PD, Rigby PD, Rexburg PD, and Madison PD, or Madison County Sheriff's Office, excuse me. We don't have a lot of details at this time of why that is being investigated. We're following all leads, and we will go from there as far as if there's going to be any more suspects involved or a reason of why this happened. We will relay that to you when we have that information. And with that said, I'm going to pass this on to Dr. Lemon.
Good afternoon. I'm Michael Lemon. I am the Trauma Medical Director at Eastern Idaho Regional Medical Center. At 9:55 this morning, our incident command was set up. We got notification that there was a shooting at a middle school in Rigby. We were notified that there were 3 patients that were coming to us as gunshot wound victims. We mobilized our trauma service, including our emergency room, our operating rooms, and multiple different capabilities throughout the trauma system in order to take care of these patients. I can report to you that fortunately we were blessed that each of these individuals sustained non-life-threatening extremity injuries. Our 2 pediatric patients will be monitored overnight in the hospital. Our adult patient injured has been treated and released from the hospital already. At this time, from a hospital standpoint, we want to absolutely express our condolences to the victims of this who were both shot, as well as the victims who sustained emotional trauma in going through this. We express our condolences to the community in Jefferson County and appreciate both the teachers, the emergency staff, as well as the police departments that appropriately took care of these patients, and hopefully we can get through this together. Thank you.
So obviously the investigation is still underway, and we will not be making any definitive prosecuting decisions until that time. Once the investigation is completed, we will be filing appropriate charges, possibly including 3 counts of attempted murder, accounting for the victims that you've heard of today. And that is all we have to say for now.
Could you say and spell your name, please?
Mark Taylor, M-A-R-K-T-A-Y-L-O-R.
I'm Chad Martin, Superintendent, School District 251. This is the worst nightmare a school district could ever face. We prepare for it, but we're never truly ready for it. Our hearts and our prayers go out to the victims and their families and all those involved. There will be no school in session throughout the district tomorrow, so families can be together to address this. We will, however, have counselors, school counselors, and multiple agencies that offer their support available beginning at 8 a.m. in the morning at Rigby High School. We want to thank our law enforcement partners for their quick response throughout the valley. We feel overwhelmed by the support that they provided to us and to our staff. We want to thank EMT. We want to thank our staff that acted quickly and appropriately and did everything they could to protect their students. We want to especially thank our community. The vast support that we have received is overwhelming, and we are grateful to live in a community that cares about their students, cares about their schools, and are willing to offer that support. Again, thank you to all of our partners throughout this difficult time.
With the statements that have been read, or if I will stand for questions and try to answer them if I can, but understand this is under investigation. Is there any questions? Yes, Nate.
Sheriff, you mentioned that the teacher disarmed the student. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Was the teacher tackling the student, or how did that play out?
That is also under investigation, Nate, but I can tell you that she did take the handgun from the student and held her until law enforcement apprehended her.
And this was a student in that teacher's class?
No, it was not.
Okay. And was that in a classroom or the hallway?
The incident took place in the hallway and outside of the school.
Outside the school.
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
talk a little bit more about how this played out? Did it start in the hallway or outside, and how did this develop?
So this incident did start in the hallway, and it moved towards an exit to the east side of the building to the outside where a victim was shot outside. So 2 victims were shot in the school and 1 was outside.
Sheriff Spencer Harris, Talk 13 from Salt Lake City. I'm curious, when your officers respond to something like this, obviously radio calls can sometimes be very hyped up and adrenaline is rushing. How do you respond calmly to a shooting like this, especially when you know kids are involved, and that does heighten the circumstances, definitely?
And I totally agree with you. I understand that the school district and law enforcement in this area have a wonderful working relationship, and there's been numerous trainings in this. But to tell you, if you're calm going to that, I wouldn't say that that would be the case for anybody that had to respond where children are involved.
When it comes to that training, obviously, most departments go through something like that. How helpful is that, knowing that you have that to fall back on when it does really happen in real life?
It is very helpful, but I'll also expand to that. Our children in this community have been through the same training multiple times every year. And the response from the law enforcement, but not only that, the response from the school district, the teachers, and the students, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Yes?
Brennan Kaufman from the Post-Register. Were there any warnings or reports that this student might pose a danger before this morning?
Not that I'm aware of, but that is under investigation right now. Yes, sir.
Were any of the victims targeted? Was the shooting a targeted attempt to harm them?
Once again, it's under investigation, and I do not have the answer to that. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
So, Sheriff, there are multiple posts kind of going around social media within, the Rigby community as well as to the identity of the teacher that disarmed the student. Can you confirm that it was Miss Julie Knighting that disarmed the student?
After speaking with the school district, and we have not spoken to her in reference to releasing this teacher's name, so I cannot confirm that at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? You're welcome.
Would that be the same on behalf of the custodian as well?
Yes.
Were there deputies already at the school? I know some schools have school resource officers, or was this something they had to rush to the scene this morning?
We do have school resource officers. The deputy was not in the area where the shooting occurred, but deputies and officers from Rigby Police responded immediately.
As we speak, there are people setting up a sign outside the school in support of all these students. What does it mean to you, and whoever else wants to answer this, that the community is so supportive of what happened and making sure that the students are okay when they go back to school whenever they do?
I'm going to refer that question to the superintendent, because I believe he's answered that very eloquently, okay?
I was not aware of the specific sign, but I can tell you from the time we've got students out of the building, moved them to the high school, within 30 minutes, we had agencies here helping, bringing food, water, blankets. It's, like I said, it's overwhelming for the support that we had. Multiple people texting, emailing, calling, coming, asking what they can do to help. So the support from the community was overwhelming, and I have no doubt it will continue to be that way.
For the prosecutor, given that the suspect is a juvenile, how much information are you going to be able to release in the coming days about the charges, court proceedings? Are we going to hear anything more about this situation here in the next few weeks?
Well, that depends on when the investigation is completed. Once the investigation is completed, then we will be assessing all of the information to determine the appropriate charges at that time. And I'll leave it at that.
Can anyone say anything more about the injuries to these three victims? Were they shot once or multiple times, and how badly were they hurt?
So our adult was shot once as a through and through in an extremity, and able to be released at shortly after being evaluated and treated in the emergency room. Our two pediatric patients, one was shot once in an extremity and may require surgery in the future. The second was potentially shot twice, but there were two injuries, one to an upper extremity, one to a lower extremity. Once again, all of them are non-life-threatening injuries, and the patients will recover.
I know this might be kind of a hard question to answer, but how lucky is that there are three gunshot victims? All three of them seem like they will make full recovery fairly quickly.
An absolute blessing. As our officer has already stated, we as a trauma facility, we prepare for this. We've actually, with the assistance of other high schools, we have actually run mock shooting, mass casualty situations. All of those situations did not include completely survivable injuries. And so, as he stated, we're prepped, we're ready. Our trauma system was prepared for this when it came on, and the fact that the injuries are as insignificant as they are right now, not saying that they aren't bad, but they could be so much worse, we feel absolutely blessed.
And did I understand correctly that those two pediatric patients could potentially go home tomorrow?
Our two pediatric patients are going to be monitored in the hospital overnight. They're under what we'd call a fair condition. Both of them are completely stable. We want to continue to monitor those injuries and make sure they don't need any other further surgical treatment, and then potentially could be dismissed tomorrow.
Can you say if they're male or female?
I cannot.
For the sheriff and the superintendent, how well prepared do you feel that the school district was to handle something like this? Not happened around here.
As the sheriff mentioned, we train very frequently with the sheriff and also on our own for situations. I don't think we can ever fully be prepared, but I feel like our staff reacted and our students reacted in the best possible way for the best possible outcome. We will obviously take time over the next days and weeks to reevaluate and see where we can continue to improve. But as a whole, I'm very pleased with the way our staff responded.
Yes, sir.
Can you say what kind of weapon it was?
That is under investigation, but it was a handgun.
Did you have a caliber?
No.
Do we know where she got it?
I do not know that at this time.
And what's the status of the suspect? Is she being held somewhere?
She is in the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office at this time.
So there's reports of a video going around on the social media app TikTok. Is that something the investigative team is aware of?
They are aware of that, and they are looking into it.
Sheriff, how long will your investigators remain at the school? I mean, is it still considered a crime scene?
It is, Nate. It's a big school. It's a big crime scene, and they're very thorough, so they'll be there a while.
Do we know if there might be any video of this?
Are you okay with me answering that? The incident was caught on the school's security system, yes.
Will that be released to us at some point in time?
That'll be up to the prosecutor, but as far as during the investigation, no, not during the investigation. All right. Thank you for coming, everyone. We will update more information as soon as we have it, okay? Thank you.